Well, you don't earn any money. In other words, if you elect to be an artist, you elect poverty. And so, and of course, if that's true of the arts in general, then law arrangement or Ikebana is way, way, way down. So we're dealing with something that's not recognized with any importance at all.
We have little...
Oh my!
Oriental.
Well, I wish that Ikebana becomes better at home.
Pineapple. With the pineapple and all the Oriental.
That's a very pretty cake. I don't know whether there's enough there for everybody. Now, I put a few things on this board. I don't know whether you can read it or not. I'm going to be talking about, I didn't even put the word Ikebana on there.
But Nagire.
Ikebana. It has many schools of thought, only two of which I'm talking about today, Nagire and Moribana. And this is just a schematic, a basic organization of space in Ikebana is linear arrangement. And these are the elements: line, contrast, color, hue, value, chroma, in color, and texture. You're dealing with those as the elements. And the container, in this case, is a Moribana container. Oh. And there are three basic lines: heaven, man, and earth, if you want to put them in English terms. And it's a triangle of space. And the triangle must be irregular. Remember that the total thing here is irregularity. It must in no way be mathematically regular. The number system in Japan is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 17, 21, 27, 33, and so on. Never 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So there's a big difference right away. Too bad. So this is a triangle that has to be irregular in space. Now, it has to be irregular triangle this way. And it also has to be an irregular triangle that intersects that triangle going this way in depth. Try it sometime. It's not as it looks. You know, we have a national style of flower arrangement in this country. And we call it the stuffed-in style. Which means that you just cut all the blooming flower heads and stuff them in the vase. We are true primitives in that regard. Our whole floral industry is against us. Everything in a flower shop is wrong from our standpoint. They sell things by the half dozen and a dozen. That's a guarantee of failure. We also sell what the Japanese call garbage, meaning full-blown flowers. When you go to the flower shop, all the flowers are in bloom. When you get flowers in Japan, they're all wrapped in silk wrappers as buds. And you make the arrangement and then they bloom. Their idea of our flowers is garbage. It's ready for the try to keep when it's in the shop.
Lennox.
And then the container question is a very difficult one. I wonder if we could...
Right behind you here, Lennox. Lennox.
Free work here.
There's room right behind you here. Here's a table for you to...
container question is very difficult. American forests love exactly the wrong container. It's often wrong in shape and it's wrong in decoration. It has flowers painted on it. And they never, one of the no-nos in Japanese arrangement is never use a container that has any artwork on it. Because the artwork then competes with the arrangement. And it's wrong from the beginning. So remember, you have bad odds against in our uncivilized country. Sorry to tell you all these things, but it's true. Now, why is it so important? It's so terribly important because it's the entrance to the arts. If you can handle air, earth, and water, and line, contrast, in contrast in Japan is called notan, N-O-T-A-N, I forgot to put it there. N-O-T-A-N, contrast between dark and light.
Oh, thank you.
If you can handle both things in the arts, you can handle anything. In architecture, sculpture, painting, any of the arts. So it's no wonder that in Japan, Ikebana schools are the kindergarten, the beginning, the basics. And incidentally, Ikebana schools in Japan, for any of you who've been with me in Japan, you know it's no small thing, is it? It's big business, very important. Because it ultimately leads to an art society, or a society of people that know the arts. And so Ikebana is just a tool. It's the entry tool, the kindergarten, the beginnings. And if you can handle those things, then you're ready for a life in the arts. And that's what Ikebana should do for each and every person. It should be your entry to the life of an artist. And don't turn around and say, I'm not an artist, because you are. Human beings are born with the ability to be an artist. We work hard to avoid it. We work very hard to be ignorant. We have people who are so ignorant of the arts, they'll stand up in public and say, oh, I don't know anything about the arts, I can't draw a straight line. As though drawing a straight line is some kind of magical license in the arts. We have people who are proud of the fact, they'll announce publicly, I don't know anything about art. In fact, I was launched in my career on that theory by no less than General Douglas MacArthur himself. I was in his office in the occupation of Japan, and the second day in his office, he took me by the shoulders, physically, pinned me to the wall. And said, Tierney, there's one thing I want you clearly to understand. I don't know one damn thing about art. I was his Arts and Monuments Commissioner. That was what launched me in my career, because he didn't know anything about the arts, and he left me alone. I became a unique department, more or less alone. All the other departments in the occupation came to me, one after the other, and said, what is your magic? How do you keep you out of your hair? I said, the answer to your question is very simple. You have to be an artist.
That's right.
It's the one thing he doesn't know anything about. He was a natural bean counter. into and a micromanager. People often ask me what kind of a boss he was. Well, I just told you what kind of a boss he was. He was a micromanager. He was a micromanager and a bean counter from way back. He also happened to be a military genius. That's what got him where he was. But I had a lonely life alone for only one day. Guess what I stepped into in Japan? I stepped into the loving arms of every artist in the country. Every philosopher, every poet, every practitioner of the arts. They all swarmed to me like bees to honey. Because I was the only officer ever sent out in our government in an arts capacity. And so they've been waiting for somebody to come in their interest field. Their interest field was the arts. Japan is an art-centered society. So I stepped into some very amazing arms. And they turned out to be the greatest teachers in the world. The greatest colleagues in the world. It was a rare moment in history. And I suddenly realized that I had a powerful tool to work with. And if the better relations between the United States and Japan had had anything fortunate about them, maybe I had something to do with it. I tried. The glory goes to those folks who met me at the airport. And of course it got me in trouble with the occupation. Because shortly after I got involved, people came to me and said, or circulated a rumor behind me, my back. Oh, he's a Jap lover.
Yes.
Just because I was working with the friendly art elements in Japan. So anyway, maybe that's interesting. But what I want to impress you with today is the importance of knowing something about Ikebana. Get away from that ignorant approach that we face in our country. Well, I don't know about that. Because it is the entrance to the arts. Visual or auditory or anything else. You know, you have contrasted music too. And so mastery of these elements is the most important thing we should involve our students with in this country, and it's the last thing on earth we are involving them with. Just the morning paper, an article about our dear senators in this country, or in this state, talking about the arts, knowing nothing about what they're talking about. It's an appalling situation, really. Read the morning paper if you want to really be discouraged about what's going on. Anyway, I make the case for the importance of what we're talking about and the knowledge that is necessary to have in our society in order to make it work properly. Now, since if you want the real answer to why this is a difficult moment and a difficult place and a difficult time, we're dealing with something that is a 7-year university doctoral program in Japan. What could be more presumptuous than to stand up at a lunch table and talk about these things? I mean, it really is, really presumptuous on a huge scale to even think that you could do anything about it. So the most important thing, I guess, that we could do today is simply to try and realize the importance of what we're doing. The importance of mastering these basics in the arts, which we're ignoring totally.